You already know how to trade. Right now, a ship carrying Canadian lumber is crossing the Atlantic Ocean. Another one, loaded with Mexican avocados, is heading north. Why? Because no country can make everything it needs, and the ones that try end up with less of everything. Have you ever swapped something with a friend? Maybe you had an extra sandwich and they had extra cookies. You traded, and both of you ended up happier. That's trading. But here's the thing. You probably can't make everything yourself. You can't grow your own wheat to bake bread. You can't build your own computer. It would take forever. So instead, some people get really good at one thing. A baker gets really good at baking. A farmer gets really good at growing vegetables. Then they trade with each other. Everyone wins because people do what they do best. This is called specializing. It's like a superpower. You might be thinking, but why can't I just do everything myself? Then I don't need anyone else. That's actually a great question, and the answer is you could. But imagine if the baker spent half their day trying to grow vegetables. They'd end up with bad vegetables and less bread. Both things get worse. When you try to do everything, you end up being okay at many things instead of great at one. Trading lets everyone be the best version of themselves. Countries do the same thing? Did you know countries work exactly the same way? Think about Canada. Canada has huge forests and lots of oil underground. Canada is really good at cutting down trees and pumping oil, so Canada specializes in lumber and energy. Now think about Mexico. Mexico has perfect weather for growing avocados and tomatoes. Mexican farmers grow some of the best avocados in the world. And the United States? The US has massive farms that grow corn and soybeans, and it's amazing at making computers, phones, and rockets. Each country does what it's best at. Then they trade, and everyone gets what they need. Wait, you might be thinking, okay, but why can't Canada just grow its own avocados? Canada could try, but avocado trees need warm weather all year round, and Canada is frozen for half the year. Growing avocados in Canada would need giant heated greenhouses, tons of electricity, and they'd still cost 10 times more than a Mexican one. It just doesn't make sense when Mexico can grow them so easily. It's much smarter to let Mexico grow the avocados and let Canada do what Canada does best, cut trees and pump oil. Then they trade. Everyone wins. But trading across borders needs rules. Okay, so trading makes total sense. But here's where it gets complicated. Trading snacks with a friend at school is easy. You hand it over, done. But trading between countries, that's a completely different story. You might be wondering what makes it so much harder. 4 things. 1, countries use different money, and the value keeps changing. Canada uses Canadian dollars. Mexico uses pesos. The United States uses US dollars. These are all different currencies, and they're not worth the same amount. Today, 1 Canadian dollar might be worth 73 US cents. Tomorrow, it might be 71 cents. This is called the exchange rate, how much one country's money is worth in another country's money. Think of it like a translator, but for money. Before any trade can happen, both sides need to agree. How much is this worth in your money? And if the exchange rate changes while the ship is still at sea, someone might end up losing money. So there are banks, contracts, and financial rules just to manage this. 2, shipping is a whole extra cost on top of the product. When you buy an avocado at a Canadian grocery store, you're not just paying for the avocado itself, you're also paying for the ship that carried it across the ocean, the fuel that powered the ship, the workers who loaded and unloaded it, the insurance in case it sank, and the port fees when it arrived in Canada. All of these costs are added on top of the price of the product. The avocado farmer gets paid for the avocado, the shipping company gets paid separately for getting it there, and all of that ends up in the price on the sticker at the store. 3, countries need written contracts because you can't just go get your stuff back. At school, if your friend takes your sandwich and doesn't give you cookies, you can talk to them. Maybe a teacher helps. It's annoying, but it gets sorted out. But what if Canada ships $1 billion worth of oil to Japan and Japan says we never received it? Canada can't just fly over and get it back. There's no single world police. Different countries have different laws. So countries use detailed written contracts, legal agreements that spell out exactly how much, what quality, when, how it gets paid, and what happens if something goes wrong. These contracts can be taken to international courts. Without them, nobody would trust anyone enough to trade. 4. Every shipment has to pass through customs, and that costs the government money to run. When a ship full of avocados arrives at a Canadian port, it doesn't just walk in. Government workers called customs officers check everything. They make sure the food is safe, nothing illegal is hidden inside, and all the paperwork is correct. Canada has dozens of ports, airports, and border crossings. Thousands of customs officers work around the clock. All of that costs money: salaries, buildings, equipment, technology. And here's the question that sets up our next episode perfectly. If the government spends all this money checking goods that come in from other countries, how does it pay for that? Governments need revenue to run customs, pay their officers, and enforce all the rules that make international trade work. And one of the ways they collect that revenue is with a special border tax. One that's been around for over 2,000 years, and one that's causing chaos in many countries right now. What is it? Find out in next episode in 2 days. Look at the label on something you're wearing right now. Which country was it made in? Leave your answer in the comments.